What's up, everybody? If you are fortunate enough to be watching this stream at 9 o'clock in the morning, what we're gonna be doing is I had I'm just kind of thinking about the kind of videos that I like to make and what you guys could benefit from and everything. And one thing that keeps on coming back around full circle isn't so much like composition stuff. I don't really get a lot of questions about composition anymore. I don't really get a lot of questions about sample selection or what 808 to use or anything like that. But it's still there still seems to be um, this this question about mixing and what's the best way to go about it and how to get a sound similar to like either the YouTube beats that you hear or the beats that you hear on streaming platforms and stuff like that, right? And I think that for me doing content, as long as I've been doing it, I have a tendency to think that like, oh, I've taught you this stuff already, or why am I gonna keep repeating myself? But I think it's good to like circle back and kind of just refresh, especially what's up, Ralph? Because there's always going to be someone new watching this stuff, and I think it's it'll be cool to kind of circle back with it, and maybe um my intention is to take like the content that I do here, chop it up, make it into a course that's more digestible and easier to watch, right? But one warning, I would say, if you're a person who makes beats, right, and you're not happy with your mixes, uh you know the multiple warnings, actually. The first one that I would give you is that you need to be cautious about the way that you're expecting the information to be presented, right? So mixing is something that you get good at by, throwing punches in the gym, right? By making the beats and mixing the beats, right? That's why it's so important to not um close a project without exporting the mix, right? You need to the number one thing that you need to be doing every time you make a beat is finishing the beat, arranging the beat, and exporting the mix, right? So that way that you've always got um a body of work that you can go back to and listen to, right? What I do is I export all of my beats to a folder, right? If I go to export a beat in Studio One, I have a Dropbox folder that's linked on my computer via the Dropbox app, right? So when I go and I export my beat, it goes right into the Dropbox app. And now when I get into my car and I put on Bluetooth, I can listen to every beat that I've made. Since I've started doing this, I think I've got an 18 folder, a 19 folder, a 20 folder, 20, 21, 22, 20, and next year we'll make a 24 folder. So, and this has enabled me to do experiments like testing out different hardware mixes, which MPCs mixes do I like that sound the best, though, comparing different plugins, because that's how you start to understand your room and your speakers, is by listening to what you mix, right? You can't approach this by just watching videos, copying the settings and the EQs and the plugin chains, and stepping back and then being like, why doesn't my stuff sound like someone else's, right? You have to listen to your stuff, identify the problems, and then you can go seek different solutions, right? And I think that's where a lot of people mess up. They don't they skip a huge step, right? Which is going to be the focus of what I'm going to show you in this stream today, right? And the first step is being able to get a beat that sounds really close to, a finished, mixed and mastered product without putting a bunch of plugins on it, right? Without watching a YouTube video and looking up Jason Joshua's secret technique to make the kick pop out. You know, your kick should already be jumping out before you're looking for any other process, right? So that's what I'm going to do for you right now. If you got some time and you got the patience, that's great. If not, on producercourses.com, this will eventually be a shortened and condensed course. But what you have to be cautious of with the shortened and condensed courses and what we've done to our attention spans today is you have to remember that mixing is not something that you learn fast, right? You can have a course and it can show you the techniques, but unless you practice for, at least 100, 200 sessions, which is, making and mixing a beat, every 3 days or every other day in a year, it's going to be very hard for you to what's it called? Get repeatable results. And that's really what you want, right? That is the focus and the goal of understanding the basics of what we're doing. And what I'm going to show you today, this morning, is how to get a repeatable result every time. And why is that important? The reason why you want to get, as a beat mixer, right? This doesn't apply to, mixers who are making, $60,000 a record and charging a ticket like that. Those guys will tell you that every song is different, because for them every song is different. But for you as a producer, every song is not different. You have a sound. You have go-to plugins, you have go-to drum samples, you have go-to 808s, go-to bass lines, right? So those things are always going to be constant. So you need to master, the sweet spots of those samples and VST instruments to be able to get them to sound the best, right? So I started with a I don't have any routing in my template right now, like I normally do. I normally have a bunch of stuff routed, right? The first thing that I start with in my sessions is a VU meter. And the reason why I start with a VU meter on my channels is because it is a good practice to get into when you are using plugins. A lot of plugins from, things like Waves, Universal Audio, stuff before YouTubers started making plugins, they were designed to operate like analog gear. And what happens in the digital realm is we're about 18 dB louder because we have no electronic penalty. We don't clip. We don't overdrive a circuit. There's no distortion. So in the digital world, you can afford to be louder. But what happened is these plugin companies designed these plugins to bring in the analog mixing world by making them react like analog plugins, and the meter on our DAW is different than the meter in the real world. So the problem that this solves is by putting a VU meter on top of my channel and setting it to 18, I now have the same meter that I would in the analog world. Why do you need that? Because if I want a analog emulated plugin to sound the best that it possibly can when I'm using it, I need to be able to hit it so that, the needle is moving in this area, right? And this is a habit. When you develop good habits in your mixes, you get repeatable results, right? So this doesn't change the sound of anything. It doesn't enhance anything. It doesn't add more bottom. It doesn't add more top end. It doesn't add any stereo width. But what it does is it allows me to collect information, and even if I don't need that information, when I'm working, it's not something that I have to think about, right? So let's go ahead, and I started with this little melodies. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up the frequency spectrum. I'm going to get, I've got some good mids going. Um, and I'm just going to fill out this what's it called? I'm going to fill out this melody here. So now you hear we've got stuff going on in the lower register. As I'm going through and I'm watching my meters. You see how when I'm looking at the VUs, it's crossing over zero, but you're looking for an average, right? It's crossing over zero, but it's not pinning. It's not I'm not getting a red overload signal there. And there's no distortion. So this is, for all intents and purposes, without any drums or anything, like this is a good baseline level to work at. If for some reason you're working here and you feel like this is too low in your speakers, you need to turn your speakers up, you need to turn your headphones up. Or if for some reason you're in a situation where you can't do either of that, then what you want to do is you want to go to your master and take a limiter plugin and just turn the gain up on a limiter plugin. What you don't want to do is go around and turn things up above zero in your faders. You really want to save your faders for the end of the process. But this is pretty loud, so I think we're fine, right? So we got some of this. So I'm like as I'm going along and I'm making this beat, like I am hearing that this second omnisphere is, it's loud. It's jumping out. I don't want it to be that loud. And I could continue to, use this fader. But that is the last thing that you want to do. The reason why is because as you turn down this fader, the fader becomes less and less powerful. You know what I mean? You want to use the fader as the last part of the mix, right? You have what's called fader resolution here. And you see how much space is between 0 and -6. Once you move down the fader, that same amount of space gets exponentially, more powerful, right? So once we're down here, you've got -12 to -24. That's 12 dB, and it's the same fader movement. So like if you look here, this much fader movement is 12 dB, right? But once you get halfway through the fader, you've cut that resolution in half, right? So this is like HD mixing up here, and then down, this shit is 4K, and then down here you're down in 720. You know what I mean? So in order to preserve that, you put other plugins where you can manage your gain. Now, we don't want to use the trim plugin here because we're already showing in our VU meter that we are, at a good analog level. So this is where you start to add an analog plugin, right? For me, the plugin that I like for this type of stuff is Oxide. You know what I mean? This is a great plugin for this. Um, so if I put on Oxide, the point is I have an input and an output, right? Oxide also gives you an added benefit of, doing a tape at emulation. It also gives you an added benefit of acting as a non-linear plugin. And what that means is, even though it's showing a tape, what the function of this plugin is it's a console emulator, right? When you use a DAW, every single channel is perfect, right? It's coded to be perfect, and that's, an advantage to some people in the digital space. But for, the type of music that we like the imperfections of gear. This is one of these plugins that helps you achieve that by adding, unexpected, pleasing, analog tendencies to the signal, right? So what I do is my next plugin in the chain for all of my tracks is going to be this plugin, right? And the main function of it is to adjust the volume on is to adjust the volume on my faders before I use my fader at the end, right? Because we're saving that for the very end. That's how we make the fine adjustments, right? Um so what I do here, so I've still got my fader at 0, right? Still at unity, but I was able to make the volume adjustment that I needed. So let's go ahead and put another layer. See, we got, what octave is this? I like to keep a spectrum meter on my master channel, um because when I'm cooking up, I'm making melody. I can kind of see like, all right, I need to fill up the spectrum, and I could see where a concentration of my stuff is. I can say, okay, you know what, I need to go up a little higher, add some stuff up there. Not that I need to, but that's where I've got room to, right? And that kind of helps you when you're composing. Let me see what can be done here. So that's that's good. That's showing me that I have, I got space that I could work with. I'll go ahead and take these plugins here and collapse them, right? And the first thing that you'll notice now is that all of these sounds, they have space, right? Nothing's like fighting itself. You're not sitting here like, oh, I need to EQ this because I got to figure something out. And that's the control that you have as the producer, and that's the control that you should exercise when you're making your stuff, right? Don't put yourself into a situation where you need to pull up a YouTube tutorial or buy Soothe to make your stuff sound good, when you have the control to just move stuff in the octaves. You see what I'm saying? So notice how I have this fader, right? So I have a fader port, and it's because like when I'm, I'll be playing something, and it's just easier to knock this down, and then my ears will just be like, okay, that's where it needs to be. But I always take notice of where this is, -7.1, and what I do is I come back and I'll just knock this down in the gain plugin and then reset that to Unity. So once you got like once you got like three sounds, I mean, you should really only need like three sounds to make a beat. Um, Once you got that, we can go back and start like composing our drums, right? I'm just gonna make a, get us a drum pattern. Do trap drums today. All right. Bet. So simple pattern, right? Simple bass line. And notice again, like I didn't do any, like my drums are my drums are where they are. No buses yet. No, no fader movement. And notice that nothing sounds crazy. You know what I mean? Nothing's geeking out. Everything is, it's not perfect, but this is like to reinforce the point: sound selection and composition first. You do sound selection and composition first, you're not going to have problems at the back end. And that's what you're kind of going for as a producer who mixes. You're going for, I don't want to have problems at the back end, so I'm thinking about it up front first. The key to a great mix is in the production, Jay. Yeah, I agree. If you notice, like, if you like, whenever you watch these courses from, like, Dave Pensado or Jason Joshua, like when they press play without their stuff, it already sounds better than all the stuff in your computer. And the reason why is because the people that they're getting it from, they've already mastered this step. You know what I mean? So you just can't skip the steps. So when I get to this point, when I've got my three sounds in my composition, I've got my bass, I've got my drum pattern. This is the point where I do my mix. Like this is where pretty much everything gets done. Because now that I've got it, I don't need to like go crazy with everything, and just try to get too creative. Now you remember, if you remember that first part where I put this limiter on, that's what stops this from sounding crazy, right? I didn't have to put too much thought into the work that I was doing, because now when we go and listen to it without the limiter, we're peaking all over the place. So now we've got to we've got to get to the point where we get rid of all this digital clipping that's going on, because it's not sounding good. We don't want we don't want a limiter to do that work, right? You want to make your plugins do the least amount of work as possible. Because when your plugins are doing the least amount of work as possible, you don't hear the side effects that they have on your music. And even the best plugins put side effects on your music. So you want them to serve their purpose, but you don't want the side effects. Question from the chat. Yo, CMP, after you put oxide tape on a sound, why you don't get the sound to 0 VU in the view meter before you are hitting the oxide plugin? Yo, CMP, after you put the oxide tape on a sound, why don't you get... Well, I do. Okay, so I do. I just don't obsess about it. That's why I put these VU meters here first. The VU meter is telling me that it's, around where I want it to be. And I don't like sit here and stress myself out about looking at the VU meter in here because, Josh, I'm using my ears, right? If I'm listening and the stuff sounds good, then what's the advantage of making my eyes happy? You see what I'm saying? Like we don't do this to make our eyes happy. That's not that's not why we insert this plugin. So now that we got this set up, we now have a problem. The problem is we've got too much volume going to our master fader, and we need to bring that down. So what is the best way to do that? Where do I even start, right? To me, I think that Jason Joshua has done, an amazing thing by creating this plugin called the God Particle. And what this plugin allows us to do is, without my mixing cheat sheet or without, anybody else's course or information, it's a very simple interface on how to decide how loud you want your music to be, right? Your faders and everything. So what I like to do is we could just grab everything, right? And we'll take God Particle and go here, and we'll just turn all this stuff down to figure this problem out. Press play. Now the way that you use this plugin is you want to have, your master volume hitting in this green ballpark. You want to have your low hitting in this green ballpark, and then your mids and highs you don't worry about so much because you're making beats. You don't have a voice. The loudest part of your mids and highs is going to be a person's voice. So you don't necessarily stress yourself out about that. If it sounds good to you, and this is, this is lighting up green and this is lighting up green, then you're good, right? That now when I've noticed that when I use this plugin for getting loud mixes out of trap, when you've got your 808 and your kick, your low end, hitting like halfway, not hitting all the way through. You don't want to be at the end, but like hitting halfway, that gives you like the best result with the limiter and everything. So, our 808 is loud. Okay. Kick sounds good. Everything sounds good. You notice that we had to drop everything in order to get this, in order to get this work to work, we had to drop everything, roughly 11, 0.17 here, right? Let's look back up at our VUs. So now here you could kind of decide how you want to fix this gain. I could say, all right, so for my kick, right, let me put my fader back, and let me try doing minus 11 or so before I hit oxide. I like the way that sounds. So you know what? I'm going to leave it like that, right? Let me do it with my snare. We'll do around 7. Bring this back up. Now when I'm checking out my hi-hat, I notice that I don't have, like, I'm not really beating up the VU meter here. So to get this gain down, I can use oxide, because I'm not saturating it or anything. I'm not overloading the circuit. So let me use the last plugin in line. I'm also noticing that my open hi-hat isn't quite loud enough for, for my taste. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that up here. Now, when I'm looking at my 808, I'm overloading this oxide plugin, and that might be, adding distortion and saturation that maybe I don't want to add with the oxide, right? Maybe I have my own, processing chain in mind for this 808. So I'm gonna say, you know what? Let me dial this back up here, right? This 11, this 11 or 12 dB. And you know what? That sounds cool, but check this out. When I didn't do that, and I had this down at the 11.7, notice how, like, more pronounced the roll is. Like, if you listen to it, it's so much more. There's so much more. Like, you could hear it so much more. Like, that roll jumps out at you, and I want it to. So for this particular instance, I'm going to have the 808 overload the meter, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the I'm going to use the what's it called, the output of oxide to bring it down, right? So Josh, this is there's not this is the next thing that I want to stress when you're putting this stuff together, is this is what people mean when they say use your ears, right? Because you're asking the question like, what's the rules of mixing? And the person who's telling you to use your ears, they're not telling you to go fuck off. They're telling you like, yo, you're gonna have to listen and decide if you like the way something sounds, because sometimes breaking the rules, even if they're your own rules, is gonna work. So for this one, I did this whole process. Just to back up, I did this whole process to fight against digital clipping or whatever, right? To not overload my analog plugins. But in this instance, overloading this analog plugin is giving us the exact effect that we want. Now, these guys are all down to, all down at another -17. I want to get these faders back up. So I'm going to go ahead. I want to get those back up. I want to get my snare back up too. So I'm just going to go ahead and, all right. So notice that on all of these, they're going up and down the same amount, right? This is where it's beneficial to take and add all of these things to a bus. And I'm gonna go VU meter again, oxide again, right? This is to control the gain, because now all of these instruments, because I've already done the production side of gain staging, I like the balance of where they're at, the relationship to each other. So now I can just use, I don't want to make any movements here until the end, until I need to make a fine decision. And I could take and say, okay, let me move these down, that 12 dB. All right, so notice that again, we didn't add soothe, golf foss, any EQs, no filters, no MPC emulations. And you can hear all this. It sounds bright, it sounds up and in your face. We've just got God particle, a light limiter on it. And if I go and I put a level meter at the end of this, and we look at what we're doing as far as LUFS and everything. we're barely using the limiter. It's you don't even see any attenuation yet, right? So now if I want to, pump this up a little bit, now we're at nine luffs. The nine luffs, and we didn't do anything. We didn't roll off no lows. We didn't side chain our kick. We didn't put we didn't do surgical EQ cuts. We didn't do anything. We just made a beat, right? If we want to make it louder, we turn this limiter up a couple more dBs, right? Let's see what it does. We're taking off, most of the time it's 3 dB, and we're able to get 8.6 lufs. That's screaming. You know what I mean? That's you make beats like that and you put them on YouTube or on an online beat store, or you play them for people in a studio. Like, you're gonna be as loud as anything that's on Spotify. You're gonna be as loud as anything that's out, period, right? And we didn't have to do anything to it, right? Tanner, do you use Soothe a lot? No, I don't. I use Soothe barely, never. The only time I use Soothe is if like have something that's like from analog world, and it's like a little resonant or something like that, and then I'll turn it, I'll try to use Soothe to solve a problem, right? So, but this is when I, earlier in the beginning, when I say, that basic process, that thing that you need, that thing that you need to learn to master, you should be able to just do this, right? And this is just pan pots, okay? This is just panning. All right, this is just panning and a fader. Panning and faders, right? Panning and faders, and you should be able to get an awesome mix with a plugin like Ozone or God Particle. I know you guys all got this stuff, but like, really, if you're struggling with this, I really suggest that you get this one, because this makes it so easy. This makes it so easy. Black Friday's coming up. Once you have this, that's all you got to do. I mean, I'm using the Spins 808. I turned my sub off. I can hear the 808 loud and clear in my, in my Genelix without a sub. So I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to everything that you could ever want to do with a beat, you should be able to do here, right? You should be able to hear the 808. You should be able to hear all of the layers of your melodies. You should be able to, hear the hi-hats. You should be able to feel the snare. You should be able to tell the difference between the kick and the 808, right? Without side chaining, without any of the stuff. This is the point. Because now that you've done that, now you could say, okay, you know what? Now it's time to kick it up another notch, right? So what do I want to do? I want to add an effects channel, right? And on my effects channel, I want to, you know what? I feel like this kick, I should be able to hear it a little bit more. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to mess up this awesome, because I already have an awesome mix, right? But I want to make it something that's better than awesome. But what I don't want to do is start turning things up and down. This is where everybody messes up. You get something that's good, where you can hear everything, you want to enhance it, and you start turning things up and down. Don't do that. So now I'm going to add an effects channel, which is a parallel chain, and I could say, okay, you know what? This is something that can help me with the way that my kick sounds, right? So now I can I can add a parallel signal to it. So that little bus, I was able to, okay, now I added some more like snap to my kick, and I added more separation between my kick and my 808, but I didn't have to side chain anything or do anything crazy like that. I was able to do it with harmonics, right? So now I could say, like, you know what? I want I really want some more flavor in this 808, right? So one of the things that I always do is I like the Pultec emulation on lows, right? It always sounds good. And what I'm doing is I'm watching my meter. I'm making sure that I'm not adding any more voltage, right? I'm not adding any more signal. I'm not adding any more power, because I don't want to mess up the balance that I already have, right? So I'm watching it. And say I'm listening to it and I'm like, you know what? I'm listening to this on my sub. It's cool. I want to add a little bit more rumble. Well, now I could say, like, okay, I've got this 30 hertz band. That's where all the rumble is. Let me just add 1 dB, right? All of the stuff that you're doing at this point, it's not crazy huge steps. It's just little 1 dB type stuff. So let's listen. So our bass got fatter and it got rounder. And then we were like, you know what, let's just, let me see if I can get it to hit a little harder. I'll take another plugin that I know. And we're gonna turn the amplitude all the way down so we don't have a dramatic effect. and turn the plugin all the way up so your ears can hear what it actually does. And then you turn it all the way down so you can make it almost invisible. And then once you can hear what it's doing, you just turn it down a little bit more. You want, like, at this point, again, because you've already done the work to get everything sounding good, the stuff that you're adding right now is super subtle because they're enhancements, but if you push too hard, you'll ruin the work that you already did. Like, that's why I keep going back to, you need to be able to master the ability to be able to get an awesome mix with nothing but gain staging, gain plugins, a volume fader, and a limiter or God particle or something like that. Now you could see in my meter that we've added about 3 dB of gain to this from these plugins. So what we want to do is, we don't want to be liars. Now we could take our fader. We're at fader time. We have fader resolution. Now we're gonna take that 3 dB out. Now I could say, you know what? I want to add another effects channel. On the effects channel, let's see, we want to do a pro Q, because we want to make sure we're rolling off the lows to this. And then we want to do let's do the native version, see if it sounds as awesome as the other ones. We do this pure plate reverb. All right. Take this down, turn the bass down, wet solo on. And we just want to see about name your stuff as you add it to, so that you don't get confused. It's one of the best habits you can get into, right? So now I'm rolling off this information in the reverb, so I can take my snare and put a little plate reverb on it. Now when I listen to my melody, I notice that this sound right here and this sound that those two sounds are like, they kind of occupy similar spaces. Like I noticed that it's not super dramatic, but they kind of get lost to each other, right? So now I could take, my favorite EQ plugin, right? I could take this Fab Filter Pro, and this is, now you start to get into your advanced techniques and problem solving. So I could take this one and, go to the analyzer. I will name this bells, and then I'll go to this one and we'll name it keys, right? So when you have two signals, right, and you feel that the loud one is masking the one that you've decided to be lower in your mix, but you want that one that's lower in your mix to be heard more, you don't go to the fader and turn it up. And this is why I like to leave my faders at unity for as long as possible, because you're basically taking away that ability to turn stuff up as a problem solving method, right? So then what do? Well, in this case, you want to cut frequencies from the louder one. You take your analyzer, you go and get that keys, and you use the visual help here to zero in on where they're clashing. This isn't mixing with your eyes. This is getting information. We already listened and decided, like, yo, we want to make, we want to separate these two sounds. We're going to use our tool EQ to do it. But we just want a little help of where actually to look, right? So those two areas, based on the visual feedback of this plugin, tell me that, okay, these are two spaces that you could cut and try to find some separation. Now, when you do this and you're at this stage, right, you got to remember to put limits on yourself, right? -6 is going to be a crazy cut. You know what I mean? So you start out at -3 on both of them, right? And you make your cut and you listen. So you did that. And notice that you didn't, at no point in doing that did you change the sound in such a dramatic way that you could not recognize what you were working on before, right? Because that is the goal. Because you got to remember the people who do this, whose stuff that you look up to, that you want to be like someone like Jason Joshua, Alex Toomey, Baines, fucking, all these guys, they're getting records from people who have produced, right? So when they go and mix and they're trying to make their changes, they're not making changes that are so big that when they send the record back, that that the guitar sounds crazy different, or the synth sounds crazy different, or there's all these frequencies missing, right? It's like, that's the remember that, like, really remember that, so that when you do it, you put yourself in the position where you're like, you know what, i'm I'm now the mixer, and what I'm trying to do is I'm not trying to change the tone and the balance and the stuff of my original mix, right? And if you are, that means that you messed up in the beginning. So what you have to do is you have to stop being the mix engineer, and you have to go back to being the producer, and check your sound selection, or check your, I mean, y'all don't bounce to audio anyway, so change your preset, or change an octave of a melody or something like that, bro. So here's another one that I've been using, because okay, so we look at God Particle and we say, like, all right, we've got some good levels, we're getting a nice sound out of it. But 6 dB, that's a lot on a limiter. Even though it doesn't sound bad, it still doesn't feel right. It feels wrong. So what if we took standard clip, right? And standard clip, it's not like the most amazing limiter. I like it because of the visual feedback. I'll be transparent with you. Um, because what I like to do is, in order to get more oomph out of the God particle, what I will do here is I will cut the peaks of my kicks, and kind of bring those closer to the snare, and you can kind of see it when it's popping up. Let me go. Can I do 200? Let me do 200, right? So if we look down here, watches watches the so what we're clipping is red. You see how my snare's like down there? I'm not gonna go that far down, but can I pause this? And what this does now is this gives God particle a more, uniform um signal, right? So that this limiter has to do less work, and when the limiter has to do less work, it sounds better. That's like really what you got to that's really what you got to know. So if you can take something like a clipper, put it before a limiter, make the limiter do less work, the that means that you can be louder and more transparent, because at the end of the day, that's what you want. You don't want to hear your plugins. What's up, Seven C's? So now, you've got now you've got you've got your kick nice and pronounced. Using parallel processing, you've got you've got your you've got your what's it called? You've got some depth on your snare using the reverb. Drums are drums are hitting nice and shiny. You got a lot of bass. Um, but maybe you're sitting here listening to this and you're like, man, this sounds kind of digital. I wish that I had like some more I don't know, like some more fuzz on this or something like that. Now you could take and use stuff like, we've got these this band bus here, right? And you could take a plug-in. Like what I like to use is Black Box, right? This is really good at doing what it does, and this is going to, we'll take and look for something cool. We'll use like mix. Let's use mix vintage wake up, right? So this is something you put on a whole mix. Let's just see what this does for us. Now, once we've gotten through all that, right? I want to take you guys back, and this is before I had God Particle, right? This is available to people who were on Studio One tutorials, people who were on people people who were on what's it called? People who are on producer courses right now, right? This was, and the reason why I'm showing this now instead of showing this in the beginning was I want to show you how I came up, how I even got to this point. And this is before I was using God Particle to be able to guide me, right? I showed you guys how to use God Particle to be able to guide your levels, and God Particle guides your levels to this mixing cheat sheet, right? It's telling you, your kick is negative snare is 6, your snare -9, hi-hats around -24, perks here, 808 at -12, instruments at -24, right? So if we look, and I'm saying in this cheat sheet that, in all capital letters, this is just a starting point. But if you use these levels on every beat, you will get good mixing, and mastering with Ozone and other tools will work well. But still, to get great mix, you have to use your ears, right? And that's the thing, bro. Like, like since I wrote that back in 2017, which has been like what? That's like 5 years ago. That that I've been putting this out. No matter no matter no matter the plugins that come out, the AI helpers that are developed, no matter if UAD goes native or on the Shark chip, it doesn't matter what DAW you use. I wrote that back on Studio One 3. You know, nothing changed. Nothing changed. It stayed the same. Um, it's just all a matter of taste. But that's why the reason why stuff like that is dangerous is because if you just look at the numbers and you don't take into account why I wrote it, and I made it very simple. It was to make sure that your master fader is between -3 and -6, so that your mastering plugins work well, right? If I take my mastering plugin stuff off, the highest that I'm going is -3. The lowest that I'm going is -6, right? My kick is, it's a little over -6, but it's not, it's a style choice. But -6 is that baseline, right? If you need it a little bit louder, that's the permission to go a little louder. My 808 is floating around -12. My snare is down at -12. If I wanted to, -9 would be right here. We could go louder, wouldn't be crazy. Hi-hat -24. We're in the ballpark, right? And then the sum of all my instruments. Let's see if they're at -24. So that is how I'm able to do this every time I sit at this chair. I have that memorized, right? I know that's what I'm shooting for, and I'm confident that I'm correct, because I am. Because as you can see, based on my method, the guy who we all look up to as, the best in the business, designed the gain staging parameters of his genre defining plugin around the same gain structure that I wrote on this ugly ass PDF in 2017. Right? So now once you have once you have that loop going, now it's so easy to do stuff, with the song, because you don't have to think about like, oh, the instruments are clashing or something. And now at the end of all of this, there's one last test, right? It used to be the car test. But that's not it anymore. Now it's the phone test. There is an app, right, that you can get. It is called Sonobus. Sonobus, right? And it is for the free ski, which is amazing. And it's Mac and Windows and Linux for you weirdos, all right? You got iOS support, and you got Cricket audio, Cricket wireless support, you know, if you're nasty, right? So now, you know, you get on your Cricket phone, get on your Kyocera, download the Sonobus app, right? And what you do is you say, okay, Sonobus, I want to hear what this sounds like on my phone, right? So you put the VST on your master track after everything, and you're gonna make yourself a session. So you go to connect, and I like to call the group name DAW, right? Connect the group. Now you're on your phone, same shit. Go to connect, and if you're on your network, you will see DAW pop up, right? See that? You see that right there? And now, when I play it, turn my speakers off so I don't fuck it up. But when I play it, so you'll get a little lag out of it or whatever, but it's enough to hear, like, can I hear the 808 on my phone? You could hear the 80. I mean, you guys are watching on your phone, so you already know. But now I know that I can hear the 808 on my phone. The Spins 808 has never sounded better, and I just discovered something today, that overdriving it with oxide is kind of OP, because I didn't have to use my parallel bus to enhance the sound of the 808, which I was really surprised at, because oxide did it so well. So that God particle is the jam, huh? I've been using Ozone 10. I mean, Ozone 10 is really good too. I just I just don't like the ozone stuff. It's too much shit, you know. If there's a good plugin that's simple, I would prefer to use the simplest plugin to do it, you know. So I'm done. I'm done with this one. What do you guys want to talk about on this wonderful Saturday morning? Also, guys, I didn't don't sleep on your playing either. You know, like I'm not the best keys player, but if you look at this, like if you look at how like late this melody is, like it's not quantized. None of you noticed. You know, every all of the accent notes that I used in this melody, they're all off the grid. Just from a compositional note, it adds a nice contrast to the beat, you know, to the quantized drums. You know, it makes that part of the you know, the composition feel like a sample. See if anybody did a video on that new SSL amp. Let's see who's got one. We've got Tell you what we're not gonna do. Corporate.
Mic preamps, as well as taking the opportunity, whilst we're here in this gorgeous Steinway behind me, to record some material with Pure Drive, capturing the beautiful reverb of this room and exploring the tonal shaping options that these two units provide. The Pure Drive mic preamp technology, originally developed for the SSL Origin console, is now available in a 2U rack format through the Pure Drive Quad and Octo, giving access.
Oh, you want me to do the Spotify shit? What are people crying about with Spotify? What is the problem? What is the problem? I got called a boomer today on Twitter because I wanted to bring gatekeeping back. Motherfucker called me a boomer and a cuck. Give me some
access to either 4 or 8 mic preamps respectively. Like their console counterparts.
So from what I understand, Spotify is like, yo, if you don't meet like Spotify says, if you don't meet if you don't stream X amount of streams, then we're not paying you. You know what I mean? It like we not cutting you this check for 0.16 of a cent, bro. Like, it just don't make sense for us. We're not fucking paying you. And then all of these creators who don't stream dick on Spotify, who don't stream a fucking thing, they're like, well, wait a minute, okay? I've been watching Russ tell me that if I just release a song a day that nobody's going to listen to for 365 days, then eventually I'll get to shoot a video with my mom in Greece, okay? And that's my goal, because I'm an independent artist. And they forget that Russ was on a major label and that his father had connections to the music industry. You know what I mean? And like, he's like a whole Head Start case. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like I just feel like all of these. You know what I fucking feel like, dude? I feel like all of these prosumer fucking music fanatics who have had the technology, the ability to upload their music to the same marketplace that the legends do, to be able to create content, to be able to write songs, to be able to learn the technology for fucking free. Bro, who is the one out of them who has made the classic album? Who has made the song to remember? Like, is it Russ? Is Russ your guy? Russ has created a fucking catalog of forgettable music. What is his song that is up there with, I don't know, I Feel Like Dying? You know what I'm saying? What's his Juicy, bro? What's his What's My Name? What's his fucking Still DRE, bro? What's his Marvin's Room? You know what I mean? Like, this is the guy that they all think that they're going to be, right? What is this? What are these amazing records that we need to hear that these people are making? Because because if we really talk about this, we're going to get to an inconvenient truth. You know what I mean? Like, if I really have this conversation on Spicy Saturday, we are really going to get to an inconvenient truth. We're going to get to an inconvenient truth about this country and culture and what matters, right? Eddie, what's up, bro? You know what's crazy? Producers and artists just like the idea of being heard. Yeah, like what is the let's see what if I what is it called? Spotify. Spotify's coming for your royalties in 30 days. Let's see.
Spotify is making changes to its royalty model by the end of this year, and it's said that it's going to generate an extra $1 billion for working artists within the next 5 years. And that's amazing, right? Right? Well, that depends. That depends if A, you fit into their version of what a working artist is and where that money is going to come from. So let's look at Spotify's imminent plan and how this could affect you. If you're new around here, my name is Damien Keys and I own DK MBA, DK Music Business Academy, which helps artists like you build a fan base around your music. Spotify plan on implementing changes to how and when artists get paid their royalties. They are looking to remove royalties for any artist that they see as undeserving in order to give those royalties to artists that they see as legitimate artists. Now, to do this, Spotify plan on implementing 3 major new policies, with the first one being a new minimum length.
Listen, I gotta tell you, I fucking love this idea. I love it. I don't understand. Like, I do not understand. I don't understand how any artist could look at this and be like, I don't like this. Like, because you should feel so like confident in your music and your art that being put in a competitive place should excite you, you know? It should excite you. It should motivate you to be one of the artists who is collecting.
For noise tracks. Right now, Spotify royalties kick in when a track has been listened to for over 30 seconds. The problem with this is it allows people to game the system. Take this as an example. Imagine if you made music for dogs with anxiety. I know it sounds crazy, but this is a huge genre. And when owners go out and they worry about their pets being indoors on their own with anxiety, so they put on a playlist to keep them company. Now, that playlist might be an hour or 2 hours worth of your finest dog anxiety music. Now, the problem for Spotify, as this has no lyrics, is instead of me uploading this as one 1-hour track, I am more likely to cut this down into 31 seconds, leaving me with 116 tracks. So instead of the royalty being a third of a cent for one track, I'm probably going to get 30 cents. Now, it doesn't sound a lot, but imagine that multiplied by all of the music and all of the royalties across Spotify. Now, to be fair, I understand this policy change. This is incentivizing artists and musicians to create music and gamify the system in order to make as much money as possible. However, this second policy might be slightly more contentious for independent artists. Spotify plan on implementing a minimum annual stream threshold before generating royalties. Now, for anyone who's been on YouTube for a while, this happened in January 2018, where all of the royalties that were paid for anyone making content on YouTube were stopped, and there was a gatekeeper. There was a barrier to entry, and that was, if you want to make money from YouTube content, then within 1 year, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and you have to hit the 4,000 hours of watch time. So what Spotify is saying is not everybody will get royalties for their music, and you have to hit a certain threshold before those royalties kick in. Now, here's the issue. No one knows exactly what that barrier to entry will be. I've heard everything from 200 spins on a track right the way through to 1,000 spins on a track and possibly even more. Now, you can imagine how many tracks have been uploaded to Spotify that are getting streams but still haven't hit that magic 1,000 number. Music Business News estimate that this could take away $40 million worth of revenue and royalties from independent artists.
Good. 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 Why the fuck are you paying people who are clouding the platform with caca that nobody wants to fucking hear, right? That is the problem. That is the bro, that is the problemo. There should, like, Spotify is the music store, okay? Spotify is the music store. Spotify is the place where we all go, right? We don't go to, we don't go to SoundCloud anymore. We go to Spotify. It's got the free tier. It's got great audio. It's got the app. That's where people go. So if you're fucking dropping mid-ass music, right? And And not even that. No, fuck that. If you're doing mid-ass promo, you're doing mid-ass business, right? If you're not good at music business, you don't get paid. Why are we paying people who suck at business? Y'all are the same people that a restaurant will open in your neighborhood, right? And you'll bring your girl, and it'll be people from your neighborhood who made this restaurant that don't know nothing about no fucking restaurants, right? But they know how to cook, and they make the restaurant, and your girl has some type of experience where it's not perfect. They didn't fill the water cup up, right? And your girl is running to Yelp to say, "Oh my God, these people don't know how to do this. I wouldn't waste my time here. The wings weren't wet enough, and the ranch didn't ranch enough, and yeah. And then, but your girl will eat at McDonald's and get a stomach ache and not say shit, right? Y'all are the same people, but when it happens there, and we're ripping up a restaurant, it's fine. But because we make music, we want to have maybe kind of hopefully one day the opportunity when I get up off my ass and figure out how to promote myself and do what's necessary to actually make money in the music business for real. But for now, I like the idea of getting a 6-cent check. Bro, fuck you people, dog. Because like what you have to do is you have to understand how Spotify pays. Spotify does not pay like per stream. There is a pot of subscribers. The subscribers pay into this pool, right? And then based off of all of the streams that artists get, they then recut what the actual streams are. You know what I mean? And then give that money away. Why are we paying people who are clouding up the platform, right? Taking up server space, okay? Making the platform more expensive to run, which then goes back to the customer, so that your subscription goes up every couple years, except for people who use the free tier. Then people who use the free tier, you have to listen to more ads, longer ads, just because we want to democratize the ability for everybody with a hacked FL and a Dream to be able to upload their bullshit music. No, bro. And my case for that is that it has not helped the music industry at all. All it's done is gotten worse. It's gotten worse, bro. The same beat that you made in 2013, you can get a placement with in 2023. You know what I'm saying? Invasion says, it's like sticking your hand in the dumpster and wanting some fresh food. Yes. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, we're not talking like, bro, you guys still cannot bring me the artist who made the classic album that started by uploading their bullshit to Spotify via DistroKid. You can't do it. You can't do it, bro. The closest that you could get, like for me, is 38 Special, right? But 38 Special does numbers to where he's gonna get paid. So this is not going to affect him. So who is this person, that's in the doldrums of the streaming world that we need to be listening to? Who is it? And if you can't name it to them, then explain to me why you care. Explain to me why you care, right? Because we're going to get to a point where if you finish this thought experiment, the answer that you're going to get is, well, CMP, I really like the idea of having the opportunity to maybe one day give it a try. And the difference between me and you is that I don't fucking care if you try. I don't care. The only thing that I care about is if I go, like, listen, I remember when I like really started to enjoy streaming. It was around 2012 or 2013, right? I was using Apple Music at the time. And I opened up Apple Music, and at this point, like if you go to my Apple Music, I was still buying. You know what? I wasn't even streaming. I was just buying stuff. They didn't have the streaming app. I was still buying shit on my phone like a dodo, right? So I'm on Apple, and I came across this cover, right? I came across this cover. It was this cover right here. I seen this cover, and I was like, the Luca Brasi story, the enforcer for for these guys. Hold on. So I came across this, and I was like, okay, you know what? I haven't bought some music in a minute. Let me go and listen to this. Let me give it a try, right? So I go and I bought it. And I bought it, and it was 9 songs long. And this mixtape is a fucking classic mixtape. Ask anybody. I heard this.
I'm gonna let you hear that other one after I do this. I'm gonna let you hear that one, that sixes and all that old shit, that we don't fuck around shit. I like this shit, man. Cocaine rockin', chopping off a profit, going on shopping sprees. Glock in my back pocket, already cocked, okay, I'm clocking cheese. Strap jump off the hinges in the trenches, all in alleyways. Had to say, each and every day we grabbing paper. Live a hustler, probably down.
Like, I put this shit in my car, and I started driving faster on I-95. I was on my way to work, and I was like, what the fuck am I hearing right now? To this day, I don't know how to make this beat. I don't know what that sound is. You know what I mean? This was 2013. What were the albums that were coming out in 2013? Because I want to make a point, right? So 2013 hip hop albums. We had Yeezus, My Name Is My Name, Nothing Was the Same, Mac Miller, Acid Rap, fucking ASAP Rocky. If you can remember the way that these albums sounded, the Juicy J was out. This fucking opening beat did not sound like anything.
Gangster and etc. Sometimes I can't take no break, they keep calling my cellular. It's the game, and we know this life, we gon' be alright. Ain't no sleep tonight, bitch, we out here chasing paper. Fall in with the Tech 9, no bandana, no gloves on. Long kiss, good night, my nigga, but we ain't making no love song. This bullshit you sold me, got a nice tall, no soda on it. I straight dropped it, lost 20 grams, like what the fuck is you smoking, homie? Red Camaro, white rally.
So once you hear those words, you're like, hold up, wait, hold up. Like this dude actually sells crack. You know what I mean? Hold on, wait. This is somebody who's actually, hold on 1 second. So I'm like, okay, like this is crazy. I'm like, all right, so this is nuts. I wasn't expecting all this. This is wild. And then he goes here.
Bitch, was something so serious.
Come on, but go on, play that bitch.
It's recorded.
They say diamonds are for real. see diamonds off the wrist.
Public thought me a pessimist, think my thoughts too pessimistic. Reminiscing, roasting Garcia Vegas, just don't do swishers or realists. Murder rap, we beat it. 2 a.m. and 2-seater. Yellow things, brain and brains, now arch your back and lay face down. I'm a gangster, my heart colder than.
And I'm like, yo, this is nuts, bro. No, this is definitely a Fruity Love Filter beat, absolutely. But I'm listening to the words, and again, in the context of everything that was coming out at the time, none of these dudes had this song. None of these dudes had the song. The only thing it came close to, the only like content wise, the only person who was coming close to it was like Kanye with Yeezus. You know, like he went down that, but and then you get here.
Chicago went to the pen and was living up some chicken sights. Fluorescent body paint while under neon light. Let me get you the sound up, loud and heat. But say my name, loud and.
So I'm freaking out. I'm like, dude, is this tough Drake? Like, is this Drake that I could actually listen to, bro? Like, cause he's singing about the same shit. Like, if you know about fluorescent paint under neon lights, and this is when we were going to the strip club all the time. Like you already know, bro. So this is nuts. Like I'm going through this. He's got a song on here that where he's rapping from the fucking point of the vampires in Twilight. And I'm like, what's going on? He's got a fucking acapella.
I ain't gonna lie. Caden, big brother to Jason. I went to school with him. His brother got killed, so now he keep a tool with him. Live around the corner from his 2 daughters, no father. That's when the waitress came over like, may I take your order?
You know what I mean? So this level of discovery was awesome. And my point is that this level of discovery is that this level of discovery came to us. This didn't come like this is they don't put it on here, but this is a Warner Brothers release, bro. This is when they started doing that. Release the records, you know, do a little EP. Don't tell anybody that they're signed. Put them. I mean, this was on the front page of the hip hop iTunes. You know what I mean? It was curated, and it was awesome, right? What we have now is this system where there's no curation, right? Good music is either cool music or it's artistic music, right? Hold up one second. Hey! Dog spotted the Terminator. Yo. I think Kevin's voice was better than the beat. That's not the point. I'm talking about being a music fan. Like, I'm not talking about being a producer right now. I don't fucking care about the qualities of these beats. You know what I mean? It's the fact that he made the songs on the beats, and it's the fact that his beats didn't sound like everybody's beats right now. You know what I mean? But if you go and you listen to like, you know, NLE Chopper, 42 Doug, and, you know, these albums that come out, it's the same shit. You're gonna get a 2000 sample with, you know, with City Girls drums underneath it. You're gonna get a piano jam. If you listen to Rod Wave and Lil Durk, you're getting the same beats. You know what I mean? There's no and then those are the gods of that shit. And then they got all their kids with the oh, my granny died and my girlfriend cheated on me. I gotta sing about it on a piano badly. Like. And I love Spotify for saying, you know what? We're not paying y'all for that bullshit. That's not what we exist for. You know what I mean? We are not the platform that's here for all of you losers to dump your mids. You know what I'm saying? We are here because we're a big tech company and we want to push music. We don't want to push your little fucking streaming tricks. I swore Kevin Gates was up next. He was dope, and then he showed us he was weird. Yo, yo, listen, dude. After this album came out, I fucking dedicated my production to producing for Kevin Gates. You know what I mean? Like after I heard him, I was like, yo, I'm gonna get this dude some beats, bro. Like it's like, and I met him. Went to the studio with him, recorded 2 features that he had gotten paid for, and hanging out with him for a day. That was before all the interviews came out. And once I hung out for the day, I was like, dude, like once the world gets a load of this guy, bro, like I don't know if he's gonna be tough Drake. Cause bro, like when this came out, I was like, dude, it's over for Drake, bro. Like this is a real one doing the shit that Drake do, bro. Like he can actually make the tough songs and the girly songs. And then he started talking about how much he loved eating booty, and then it spiraled. It spiraled into a whirlwind of real honesty that I don't think people were ready for. Yeah, no, Kevin Gates could rap, bro. Kevin Gates could rap, and that's the thing, bro. Like if Kevin Gates was a '90s rapper, he would be up there with like Andre 3000 and fucking Black Thought, bro. like if we didn't know that he could fucking jump a car with just his hands. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Kevin Gates is like, bro.
Fuck I just said, go get Rosetta Stone. My man. Listen, stomach hurting, my pockets empty. How dare nigga won't tempt me? In a dark room, all prayed out. Ain't never sat in no Bentley. Hustle hard in the alleyway, by me see the house, I'm getting it. Wreck my car, Chris laughed at me like I ain't supposed to remember. Wish Wig was still living. Wish Shrimp was still living. Wish Joe was still living. Look at Chris, how he tripping. Young Troll just hit the phone.
This is like, he could do everything. Like rapping like that is a super skill, because like when you start doing the names and situations and you do it in that relatable way, and how everybody knows a Chris, how everybody's been fucked over, you know, and you start to and you start talking about grandma's house and shit like that, like everybody starts building that story in their head. But yo, he went nuts on one of these.
Bitch, I'm retarded. And we seen the money good, touching me gently and she never
That shit was like a banger, bro.
plotting on you. They was all I had. I mean, it ain't no other language. Awkward interviews discussing my interviews on life.
Yes, awkward interviews discussing my interviews, bro. He went nuts on this shit, bro.
Altercation from what you look me in the eyes, then it's something you perhaps I'm too quick off the draw with how I deal with altercation. From where gangsters only talk cocaine, it ain't no other language. Awkward interviews discussing my interviews on life itself. Figure me pretentious, evading mischief by writing hymns. Label shown interest.
Figure me pretentious, evading mischief by writing hymns. Bro, motherfuckers don't say shit like that no more, bro. People do not say shit like that no more. Bro, when I heard that, when I heard that, like after hearing Around Me, you know what I mean? Because bro, when I bro, after I heard that, I was like, yo, this dude is the perfect 2K build, bro. This is the perfect build. How the fuck? How is he real? How is he doing this, bro? Bro, same, Ant. Same, same, same. Bro, he started going crazy.
No show was a show of interest. Both old ladies show resentment, resenting my show of interest. Move.
Bro, he's going nuts.
Figure me pretentious, evading mischief by writing hints. Label shown interest, no show was a show of interest. Both old ladies show resentment, resenting my show of interest. Move the
Yo, and it wasn't the way, like, it wasn't the way that he was flipping that shit. It was also the content, you know, like, he's not just rhyming that shit to rhyme it. Both old ladies show no interest, resented my show of interest. Yo, because he's a player, bro. I love it.
From a mama detached garage in a small apartment. Shut the door, shut the fuck up. We fussing, we always argue. It sucks, we always arguing, but she started it. Pawns believe I grew up on the farm with no understanding. Kevin stupid, tell him anything, he won't understand it. Stupid ass Kevin, anything, he won't understand it. I just counting on you. Your women siding with your partners while they plotting.
I can't listen to this. Oh my god, no. Oh my god, I remember why I like this song. Oh no. We're not going back to that time. Anyway, the point is, guys, somebody show me that from these people who are crying about these Spotify changes. If one of them, all I need is one, right? If somebody can show me one of those albums that's just like, you know, that's taking a risk with the production, that's talking that real shit, you know what I'm saying? And that real shit doesn't have to be cooking crack. Like the fucking what Kevin Gates bro, what Kevin Gates is talking about on that album is it's this same watered down my family sucks and my girl cheated on me shit that we get today. But he was smoking it, bro. Like he was fucking smoking that shit. Discovery was dope back then. We heard it all before now. Maybe, bro, like, but yeah, he said it. He said it way cooler because the thing is, he's actually cool, bro. He's actually cool. And that's my other thing, bro. Like this whole thing where there's no gatekeepers, that means that you get these people who ain't fucking cool because the gatekeeper's cool, so he's able to find the other cool people that you want to listen to. Because believe it or not, you don't want to listen to fucking dorks make music, bro. That's how you wind up fucking like being a Kanye West fan, and then a decade later realizing like, oh my god, bro, what the fuck have I been listening to? Like, think about it, bro. Kanye's realest album is Jesus, right? That's when he stopped fucking. That's when he realized that his mom was gone and he could say whatever the fuck he wanted to. And once that dude started saying whatever the fuck he wanted to, y'all ain't like that shit. Y'all were like, "Yo, what happened to Jesus Walks?" And Jesus Walks was for his mom, bro. But stick my fist in her like the civil rights sign, that was for him. You know what I'm saying? Let's see, 2010 hip hop albums. Yeah, this is when we got. This is when the Trap 808s took over. Teflon Don and Teflon Don and Flockavelli, bro. Bob got weird on us. We need music sommeliers like minus the payola. Yeah, but I mean the payola comes with it, bro, because you gotta, when you're at the top of that pyramid, you're gonna make money, bro. Like the payola is gonna be there, and you know what? The payola wasn't the worst thing either, bro. Like that's what I'm trying to say. Like it when we see. The problem was most like you guys are all creators. You're watching a fucking production channel because you're creators. And when we were trying to do our thing, or maybe you guys are still trying to do your thing, and we bumped up against payola, we were like, fuck, dude, we weren't counting for payola. So we were like, God damn it, it sucks, blah, 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 blah. But the reason why that messed us up, if we're honest about it, is just because we didn't know about it, right? We knew that we had to learn the MPC, we knew that we had to learn to write raps, we knew that we had to perform, but we didn't know that we had to have money. If we knew that we had to have had money, as much as we love doing the shit, we would have just went and got money. You know what I'm saying? Instead of our friends saying like, instead of being like, yo, like, you know what I mean? We could front you some bows, bro. Like you want to get in on this, and you being like, nah, I'm gonna write raps. You would have fucking let him front you the bows, and you would have got good at saving money, because it would have been one of those things that you had to do the thing that you really wanted to do. It does, but that's how the little pumps of the world get through, but I get it. Yeah, but I mean, the little pumps of the world also exposed, that the fucking that the shit wasn't going good. Kind of ended that whole cycle. Oh god. But yeah, I think if I ain't gonna lie, that Gates is gonna make me get in the playroom today. You should, bro. Hop off in the playroom. But I mean, dog, like that, like that's the thing, bro. Like that's like, I think that I think that we're, I think that what I'm trying to say, because I got kind of off topic, but what I'm trying to say is the we're at a place where people who create music, what the fuck are these dudes fucking having lunch underneath my tree for, bro? Oh, I can't stand motherfuckers, bro. Like, do not take your lunch break under my tree. If you don't go sit in your truck like a dignified, whatever. Anyway, I think what I'm trying to say is we're at a point right now where creators, and especially like independent creators, a lot of them who are of no fucking consequence, right, to the culture, okay? But a lot of them, because they have social media and they feel empowered to share these opinions, they're exposing themselves as people who do not put the person or people who are going to be potentially enjoying their art, they give them no consideration, right? They're just like, oh, like it's very narcissistic. It's like, yo, this, I'm a creator, and everything needs to work out as seamless and as flawless and as profitable for me. You know what I mean? Because I created the art. But there's no consideration for the people who built the servers, for you to be able to live in the fucking reality to where you can wake up, roll out of bed, make a trap beat in 15 minutes, write a fucking joke song on it, and then put it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, other people built this world for you. All you did was learn how to cook up on FL and talk on a mic. And you don't even do it good enough that it makes the rest of us feel any emotions whatsoever. So why the fuck should you have a say in anything? Like really consider that. Why should you have a say in how any of this goes? You don't do shit. Like, where's your dear mama? Like, really, bro? Really? It's the same thing with, like, it's this spoiled ass culture, bro. Like, it's the same thing with, other people build a world where, I'm not gonna get that crazy. It's just nuts. Like, it's just nuts how entitled people are to me. Like, you can't be in an ecosystem that other people created and just think that because you're, you know adding some small contribution to it, that all of a sudden you're entitled to the power to change it. You're not. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that it's hard, the fact that it was hard to get music to people was a part of what made it magical, right? Because you had all of this strife and angst and this power and this intention behind the song to even just be good enough so that the tastemaker would hear it, and that it would catch the attention of the tastemaker. And then what you did is you had all of these people in America who were all competing at that fucking vibration to be able to be like, I gotta get this out, and I gotta say it the right way, and I gotta play it perfectly, and it's gotta be this good, and I just gotta get my chance, and bah! You know what I mean? And then boom, it hit the tastemaker, and it fucked the tastemaker up so much that they were like, yo, I've been listening to music all day, but this shit stands out so much. This shit stands out so much that I gotta play it for the Space Jews. You know what I mean? And the Space Jew got it. The Space Jew was like, we can make money. Yeah, bro. Let's go sell it. And that's the system, bro. That's the fucking system. But you don't have the infrastructure to be able to get there without the mafia, bro. You have to have the mafia. Because the mafia is what provides the system for everybody to be hypnotized by this thing that you made, right? If you think you're going to sidestep the mob and create your own excitement, then bro, get to work on creating your own excitement and see how that goes for you. Rhymefest dropped an album in 2010. Look at that. Anyway, it's about time for me. Did I see what? The video of the famous violin musician who played in the subway? I don't know. Maybe. Probably not. What am I? What am I looking for? CMP, do you have LA scoring strings? I do. I do. It's a that was the last I told myself that was the last contact library I'm buying. Like the last like big bad contact library I'm buying, because it was very expensive and it does everything that you need to do. Um you know. And if you know how to use it, it's just like stuff like this, especially like when you do like illegal downloads and stuff like this, you don't really understand the power of all this, because when you have to use this to write like a like an orchestra. Like when I use this, I learned like how important it was to use the mod wheel when you're writing and shit like that. Yeah, no, this is a crazy library. What's his name? I got it like Al Hug uses it, and it's cool how it has like this automatic legato, to get a shit so dope. And then based on the velocities that you play, you can put where you want where you want those bends to be. And then what you do, like when you write, you take the ensemble and you play your chords with the ensemble, and then you play the top notes with this. Yeah. No, this is a bad boy, bro. This is a very bad boy. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm getting hungry. I want to eat something. Maybe I'll fight some crime in Gotham. Yes, keep it simple. Don't